And what about snack?
Slides up.
I would wait a little bit for the stream to be up before we start.
Um,
Hmm? I don't know. Well, who stopped the music?
it will be Daniel comments.
I'll keep playing. Are you playing the music?
No.
Who's playing?
Suleiman.
Seleman. Mwambie aendelee kucheza mziki. Is the fridge stocked enough? What do we have?
Toby.
How's it going, guys? How's it going? So the music is you. The whole time. Ah, nitakuwa nakushtua. Poa, poa. It's very good playlist. It's an edit. Ah, really? Ah, I thought you were mixing in real time. It's nice. It's okay. Poa, it's good. It's good. Karibuni. Oh, you've already gone. You see, you're getting something. Hey guys, karibuni. Sasa itakuwaje? Viti vinapatikana. We'll bring more seats. Ah, yeah, you guys, karibuni. You can have a seat on the couch. Yeah, grab a drink. Yeah, be a drink. Victor, you made it. Hey, brother, how are you?
Oh, good.
Nice to see you.
Too, bro.
Karibu sana.
Mike's up with
Yeah. Just I'm gonna say a few words, but yeah, I'm excited. We might be running. I think we have a seat over there.
Okay.
That one, I
I
think.
feel like I'm
You'll be right at the front. Yeah, we want you to see. We want you. Karibu.
that.
You want a drink? I'm trying to encourage people to go and have something to drink. Then they'll go. You guys don't want to drink? Karibuni. Even something. We have water, we have Red Bull. What we have water, we have Red Bull, we have soda. Would you like anything, please? Karibuni. Anything at all. Yeah, thank you. There we go. We have some water, we have some Red Bull, we have some soda, juice. Karibuni.
One thing. One cover. The best if you would sit next to each other.
Water.
I swing just between the two.
Oh, I'm not sure that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. And what about the slides? Ah, you got both. So I can just have a seat. Ah, yeah.
Let me
Here?
know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Um,
It's better if I sit and yeah. Is it awkward that I'll be talking to people while sitting?
I have no idea. No idea. But I've taken off your slides, so let me know when you're ready and I throw them back up.
Oh, okay, okay. I will. Well, he's about to start. Can I get the link?
One moment. Just finish off something like something.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sending the link. Nice, Naituma. I will look at the screen, but I can see it here. Eh?
Yeah, you should be able
Happy
to see my screen.
Naituma, Naituma, Naituma. Say pada ba. Ah, yeah, sir.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
Yani hii link inatafutwa Daniel. Is the link's not up? Can you post it in the group? In the and celebrating Hacktoberfest. But I thought maybe I could introduce the company a little bit to some of the people that are here, so you could know our journey a little bit more, and then I'm going to hand it off to Gideon and the rest of the team to walk you through our Hacktober Fest workshop. Is that okay? Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, is everybody with me? All right, fantastic. So, karibuni, Ramani. So, first, our tagline is we're building financial infrastructure for Africa's supply chains, and I'll tell you more about what that means. Can we please go to the next slide? So I like to start telling the story of Ramani from back in winter 2020. Before we had an office, before we had a lot of the beautiful people that you're seeing around us, we were just a small team of people that were building in our living room in Bezi Beach. Okay, we were a small company. What we were distributors. So we used to buy soda, water, flour from Azam, Coca-Cola, and then we used to sell to these small these mom and boga shops, these small kiosks. And that's the business, and that's actually how the business started. We have a lot of the people that on in these pictures are still here. Of course, my two co-founders as well. But it was very humble beginnings. I was about 25, 26. My brother Calvin was 22, 23. Unfortunately, he's sick. He can't be here. And this is actually how we got our first investment. We were growing very quickly, and we got into an accelerator program called Y Combinator. And actually, somebody was asking me for advice recently about getting into Y Combinator. We actually got into Y Combinator with about 4 weeks worth of traction, 4 weeks worth of growth. We're growing so fast in those 4 weeks, week on week on week growth. They're like, okay, these guys could, something could happen here. So we actually started from very, very, very humble beginnings. And as we're trying to grow that business, is it clear? Is that clear to everybody? Yeah, that we were distributors selling Coca-Cola. Well, can you imagine? I guess you can see it, but you can kind of imagine it as well. This is my brother here doing some of our first deliveries here with the family car. This is the first mobile app that we had for the salespeople. So as they were going to certain locations, they would check into those locations. These are our initial sales team. This is my co-founder, Kibet, who's actually here in the room coordinating with some of the members that you see in the team, thinking about our product strategy. Oh, and this is Kibet pitching our mother right here, explaining what our plan was and what we're trying to do. So very, very, very humble beginnings. But as we tried to grow that business, what ended up happening was that we needed more capital to buy more inventory. the technology that we build in-house. So all of our customers are actually digitized with our tech. So we have a point of sale application that we've built here in Tanzania. We have an inventory management application that we've built here that distributors of Coca-Cola, of Tanga Fresh, of Diageo use to manage their business. Before us, typically what they were using is Excel. Some of them are using pen and paper, or some software systems that are not well integrated. And so what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're building something that has Swahili, works online and offline, that's integrated between the point of sale, inventory management, and procurement. And so it's a different type of solution. And now when they use that, we also get data of what they see, of what they sell, excuse me, of what they have in stock. And that data is what enables us to provide financing to these customers. Okay, keep going. Please keep going. So this is what a typical, please. So this is what a typical customer looks like. These are distributors of the brands that you saw up there. So we see here, we did a customer visit Yuzi. So this is a distributor for, I think this is Serengeti Breweries up here. And this is his salesperson using our technology. So when he goes into market sales to a wholesaler, they're entering those sales into our platform, and we're actually integrated with TRA, so we can process receipts right now. Not processing payments yet. I see someone from Azam Pay. Maybe that's an opportunity in the future. We're just capturing the data right now. Another one of our customers for Tanga Fresh, another one of our customers for Coca-Cola. So we work with some of the top brands in the country, and their distributors are using our technology to run their business. And so I mentioned earlier how the data allows us to make money. So Gideon, and so we take that data, we take their sales data, we take all that inventory data, and we say, okay, we know how much you sell. We know who you sell to. We know how much you have in stock. So now what I can do is I can help you buy from Coca-Cola. So let's say you're a distributor of Coca-Cola. You want 1,000 crates. We use the data that we've captured from the technology, and so we pay Coca-Cola because we say, okay, we know the risk this person can actually sell. We pay Coca-Cola on day 0 on your behalf. Coca-Cola delivers to you. You get 30 days to sell that inventory. And then at the end of the month, you pay us back that money plus a small commission. And that's how we make money as well. Is that clear? Is that clear to everybody? Does anyone have any questions? You're scratching your head. It's confusing. You mean, yeah. And does that clear to everybody? Yeah.
How do you make a decision that a person has to pay in 30 days? Are you looking at maybe extending that days or less than that?
Yeah.
Because if you have a data, meaning, how long does it take for a customer to sell this stock?
Yeah.
How do you initiate it?
Yeah.
How do you make a decision?
So it's a great question. So because we have data of what's in the inventory, we have data of their sales, and we have data of what's actually in transit because they procure from us. We know how much they're selling each day, and so we know how much they have in cash. So we actually talk to our distributors and we say, listen, if you've sold the stock, please deposit it into a cash account that we give them. So typically we give them 30 days to pay us our commission, but usually they do daily deposits based on their sales. And we use that sales data and how quickly they're selling to help them reorder and set their limits. And so that's actually all through like the data and the sales that we're getting. I don't know if am I answering your question?
Yeah,
kind of, but not really. Okay, maybe you can reframe it. Yeah.
There might be some other customer who may take a bit of a longer time.
Yeah.
To do sales. But if you are limiting them in 30 days, does that affect the business or what?
Yeah, that's great. That's why we focus on fast-moving consumer goods, and then we actually try to give them enough stock so they can turn multiple times in a month. We're getting into our business model here, so these are the secrets of the trade. Don't launch a competitor, but we actually try to give them inventory for less than 30 days so they can sell and turn. And so if they're turning multiple times in 30 days, they're actually making more money. Just the way the FMCG works. So we actually try to give them. Kathy gave me the number earlier today. Is it 12 days? We try to give them 12 days worth of stock so they can turn it at least once in a month. Yeah, that's a good question. But that's the idea. So, and how do we know how much? We use the data, right? And there are cases where we overfinance, and so it takes them more than 30 days to sell. We actually track that, and we can predict that early because you're tracking their sales, right, every single day. So you can say, what is it called, an over allocation risk? And so we can actually call customers and say, hey, we need you to push your sales. because you're not going to be able to finish by the end of the month or within the 12 days that we've given you. But that's a really great question. Does anybody else have a question? Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh wow, you get deep into the business. That's also another trade secret. But if you know any distributors or Caribbean, we can give them that. But thank you for asking. Okay, I want us to make sure we're talking about the technology. You know, not necessarily the business today. It is Hacktoberfest, but I wanted people to know what we've done and how Ramani works and where we started. Is that helpful? I think that's it for me. Is there another slide? Yeah. Thank you. Let's get to hacking. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. So let's get into it. I prepared some slides here. Just give me a second. Also prepared some slides. Welcome again to Oktoberfest 2023. Maybe for people who don't know what Oktoberfest is, I guess I introduced myself. My name is Gideon Bamuleseyo. I am the lead web engineer here at Ramani, and I'm excited to host you today. So we can get started with, what's Oktoberfest?
No. I'm going to go get them.
An annual month-long celebration of open source that's hosted by DigitalOcean. And so what happens is people just contribute to open source, really. People come together, contribute, and, we are going to get into that. But basically, that's just what it is. Okay. How do you participate in Oktoberfest? We're going to get into it. But maybe let's first start with maybe what's open source for maybe people who are not familiar with what open source is. Okay. When you say a project is open source, it means that project is free to be used, for someone to study it, for someone to modify and distribute that project for any purpose. So these permissions are normally enforced through like an open source license, and we'll look at, when we get to it, we'll look at an example. So now that you know what open source is, we are going to see there are so many open source projects out there that we use at Ramani. We use a lot of open source projects. For example, for our dashboard, we use React. React is an open source web library that was built by Facebook at Facebook. And so many others. If you have, for example, an Android phone, the Android operating system is open source. So you can look at the code, it's up there. If you want to build your own operating system, you can study it, maybe pick a few ideas. So many technologies that you use in your life, probably some of them are open source, some are closed. And so going back to Oktoberfest, like how do you participate? One, you want to register on the website, which you are going to do. So it's a month-long celebration, but we kick off as early as September, end of September. And then you can make a pull request to any GitHub or GitLab project that's open source or that's participating. And for me, why this in Oktoberfest gets fun is if your pull request gets accepted. This year, for example, is the first 50,000 participants to have their first peer merged. DigitalOcean is going to plant a tree for you. They are going to pay that a tree is planted for you through an organization called Tree Nation. So, of course, the celebration started a while back. I don't know if they've hit 50,000 participants. And then the other thing is if you can get 4 pull requests merged, you will get, on the site, they say you get a unique, I don't know what that reward looks like. Previous years, it was a t-shirt. Participated before, gotten the t-shirt, I gave it to my sister. It's a cool t-shirt. Maybe really before we get into it is maybe you might ask yourself, why do you want to contribute to this project? Why contribute to open source at all? So many reasons. We can just talk through some of them. Contributing to open source helps you improve software we rely on. So much software that people, in fact, a huge number of people who contribute to open source start by, I'm using this software and I don't like this particular thing in it. So I go to that project and then I fix that feature that's not working as I want it to work. Also to improve your skills, when contributed to a while back. I think it was at like a uni, whatever. I'll check for it on GitHub when I go to my GitHub. It was, what's that, Nani? It was organized by, there was a gentleman that organized it, but it was a university project. I've contributed to a list. People curate lists, right? We'll look at that. We're going to go to GitHub and just look at some of the projects there and go through my history, see some of the projects I've contributed to. Any other questions? Okay. So if you haven't yet already, if you want to participate in Oktoberfest, one, you want to sign up. So you go to the site, should be oktoberfest.com, right? That's how the site looks like. And then you want to register. I have already registered. Should be a straightforward process. It's not rocket science. It's like signing up for Instagram or anything, any application. You can go through the website if you want to read through some of the info there. What's Oktoberfest about? It's, can you all see my screen? So it's oktoberfest.com, register, and then when you register, so start hacking. I was already logged in. Again, so the goal really, if you can see my screen, is for you to get at least 4 pull requests, okay, on any project, okay. And so I've talked about like how to contribute. And then for today's session, you could use GitLab, GitHub, or whatever. But for today, we are going to use GitHub. I mean, because you could participate by finding projects on GitLab. Today, we are going to use GitHub. If you don't have an account on GitHub, you can sign up for an account on GitHub. The site is github.com. I'm already signed up on GitHub. And so what I've done is I'm going to use a repo here to sort of demo on how can I participate. Okay. Let's say you want to contribute. The very first thing okay, how do I contribute to open source? Is one, by finding a project. Okay. So I've found there are so many ways to find a project, and we are going to go into that. But let's say this is the project I've picked. I have a project here, ramani.io, that's the Ramani blog. So this is the project I've picked that I want to contribute to. So next thing is, how can I onboard to this project? You can onboard, the project has a README right here. And so through the README, you can read what this project is all about. Right? Are we together? So when you go to GitHub and you sign in, you could go to your GitHub. When you sign in, this is how the feed looks like. You have, of course, this my feed. I see what people I follow, like what are they up to. And then you can, right now I'm just going to search. To follow along, I'm going to use the Ramani project that I've created. So I've searched for ramani.io, and then I can go to the repositories part. And then, yep. Are people connected to the internet? Okay. Yeah, maybe somehow skipping. Somehow skipping. So the Wi-Fi name is written over there. The password is also written over there on that whiteboard. There's some snacks over here. Okay. there's drinks over there right where Iain is standing. If you feel like having a, you want water, anything, it's over there in the fridge. There's a dispenser here also with water. And then if you want to use the washrooms, it's when you get out, when you get out like this, it will be on your right, just through here if you want to use the washrooms, okay? Yeah, okay. So we are this project. So let's say this is the project I've picked that I want to contribute to. So what I want to do is any project you pick, you want to look at the documentation. So let's say, what's this project about? Read through. So like this, this straightforward, it's a blog, right? What's the tech stack used? React, Next.js. So if you're already familiar with React, you already know that this is your place. Should it happen that in the documentation they've not included because the documentation is written by someone, GitHub picks up the technologies that are used here, right? The languages, for example. So when you're reading through it, you just know, okay, so am I a TypeScript person, am I a JavaScript person, and then probably this is my project. Okay. And so maybe let me make this a bit bigger because I don't know if people can see that. All right. So I read through it, understand the project, I understand the contributing guide. So when I click on the contributing guide for the project, so like how do I contribute to it? So, and this is how you contribute to most open source projects. You fork the repository, you'll create a branch for your contribution, and then you'll submit a request. Okay? And we are going to see what that means. Forking a repository, creating a branch, submitting a pull request. Now let's say we found a project. Maybe a few things I would love to talk about is when you find a project, so when you go to Oktoberfest and you go to the website here, so right now I've already picked, this project for you that when you search for Ramani on your GitHub, there's a few projects you can contribute to. But if you don't want to contribute to any of those projects, and you go to when you go to the Oktoberfest website, the participation, let me just zoom in, and then you go to the participation page. They've put up resources, like how do you start contributing? Where can you find projects to contribute to? So there's links over here. You can click on just all these links that are available. Let's say you could click on this one, and then it will take you to a website with there's so many other projects here that you can contribute to. So if you look at this, we have over 1,300, 135,000 projects plus. You'll take your time, scroll through the project, rather scroll through this list as you just go through the project. So let's say going back to the Ramani example, a few things that you want to check for. One is you want to have a checklist, okay? Maybe does this project meet the definition of open source? So most projects that meet the definition of open source is they'll have a license. So for example, this it could be an MIT license or whatever. So any project that has a license, it will be listed here. And that license basically says, hey, you're free to contribute to this project, you're free to copy it, you're free to study it without anyone suing you that, hey, you used my project, you did that. So that's what basically that license is stating. So this MIT license is just a template. So permission is granted to you. So maybe that's one thing you may want to check for. Okay, so now we've seen our project has a license. What else do you want to check for? You want to, okay, does this project actively accept contributions, or is the project welcoming? And how can we check for that? So that when you go to the project, let's say for example this project, you can look at the commits. So if you're familiar with GitHub, these are the you can see these are the commit messages. And when was the commit last made? When was the last commit? 19 hours ago. Okay, there's even a commit of 2 hours ago. So you know that that's an active project. You know, there might be projects that are open source, but it's not an active project. It will show up in this list, but it might probably not be an active project. So I see this updated 2 hours ago. When you're going through your list, you'll be able to see. Explore projects with issues. I want to, okay, let me first click on this link. This says up for grabs. And then when you look at this, there's a couple of projects here. All these, when you go, if you have your laptop fired up, you've connected to the you're connected to the internet, you've signed up, all these links help you find projects. So take your time, just go through the list, and then as you do your checklist, is it an open source project? Is it accepting, like, is it active? Like, when was the last commit? You'll find projects that have commits. Last commit was 4 years ago. Yeah, probably if the last commit was 4 years ago, it's not an active project. Yeah, I know there was one year that I found where the last commit was 4 years ago. Okay, let's first, let's go through our checklist. Okay, let's talk about, is the project welcoming? How do you know the project is like welcoming? So let's have picked the project and you're wondering, how can next thing is you've picked a project, you've seen it's an active project, you could go to the issues section. So when you go to issues, are there active issues? Are there any open issues? So I created this project particularly for, just for this, to sort of to give you a demo. But this is a project that we will use at Ramani. So if you contribute to it, it's a real world project that we are going to use. Okay, we might use, do not quote me on that. Let's just look at an issue here, for example. Let's say you go to issues on your GitHub, you go to issues, and then pick an issue. Let's say I pick this issue. Just look through the issues, pick an issue. So when I look at this issue, I see it has 5 comments. And then just read through maybe the discussion that's happening there. And so when I look at this discussion, when I open this issue, it's a story. And then someone came and asked, hey, can I take a look at this if it's okay with you, right? I don't know the contributor just came, picked up commented on the issue, like, hey, can I pick this up? And then of course I responded, hey, feel free to take this on, and thank you for taking this on. But let's say you pick an issue and rather, let's say you're going through issues, and when you look at the comments, no, the maintainers are not responding, or like, let's say the author of the project is not responding, people are commenting, no one is responding. So that's probably a not welcoming. It's not very welcoming. So you could move on to the next project. Hope that makes sense. Cool. And then when let's say you pick an issue, feel free to ask questions on the issue. Comment, you can just comment, hey, this issue, can I work on it? And then maybe if it's not clear, like when you read through. So for example, for this issue, okay, what do we want? As a user, I would like to be able to search for an article by using keywords. And then how would we say that this issue has been worked on? That given a user, when I navigate to the landing page, I should be able to have a search bar where I can enter text and search for an article. So I added some dev notes. As a user, I should be able to enter text in an input and search. Okay, added a mockup for you. Maybe I didn't add a mockup. This is your chance to come and comment on the issue. Hey, do you have any mockup for this design? If that's like, let's say, a front-end story, or if it's depending on the nature of the project. Okay. Yes. For people who are new to open source, is it making sense for people who are new to open source? I'll first pause if there are any questions. Yeah. I guess for people who are, yeah, that was for people who, you're not new to this, you can go ahead and start contributing to your projects. That's also the other part. We just wanted to, so the purpose of this event is for people who are new, it's an intro to them. For people whereby if you're familiar with this, we just invited you so we can all work together today. So as you're making your contribution, we're in the same space, breaking bread with you, as as we have some snacks and some drinks. Okay, cool. Okay. Now, if you go to a project, here is the thing. So normally when you go to a project, you can go and you've onboarded onto the project, you've read, you've read through it and you understand what the project is all about. So next thing is you want to go through the issues to see if you can pick up an issue and work on. Now, if maybe there are no issues you see that you can work on, you can always create a new issue. Like you've onboarded onto the project, you understand it and you see what's missing, you can add it as a new issue on any project. You when you go to issues, there's an option to open a new issue, and then you can just add an issue. But before you add a new issue to a project, you may want to first check the contributing guide. Okay, most projects have templates on how do you state the issue, like what information do you want to provide in an issue. Okay, and so for example, for this project, you could even just look at existing issues. So if I look at this issue, maybe if it's a feature, okay, how are we stating the feature? If like if it's a bug, how do they state bugs? Just by taking your time and going through just the current issues, you could pick up and see how other issues being added. And by even just by adding an issue on a project, that's you contributing to open source already. So by finding a problem in a project and then creating a new issue, you've already contributed to that project. Because probably you found an issue that probably the author of this project didn't know about, and then you've informed them of this issue. Are we following? That's not coding. You probably didn't even have to write code. You just found an issue in this project and then you've put it up. Okay. Cool. So we're still going through checklists for, okay, it meets the definition. You've seen that it accepts contributions. You've seen that the project is welcoming by seeing, when you navigate through your pull requests, issues, discussions, you see what discussions are people having and you see, are they welcoming? Okay. So now let's go to the next thing. Now for this project, let's say I come here and I'm just going through this project right now. I see it's a blog. I see the tech stack used, and then maybe as I go through it, so you can go through the project as I go through it. Let's say this project uses Next, and it obviously builds on top of React. Okay, let's see. It's you're going through the project. You could, let's say, maybe it's some of, let's say, the tech, something in the tech stack is missing. Let's say right now, normally Next comes with Tailwind CSS, which is also like a different thing on its own. And maybe you think it would be nice to add that Tailwind is actually being used on this project. That could just be your contribution, okay? And so what you want to do is, one, if it's not your project, you could open up an issue and give it a title. So for example, add, Tailwind CSS to README. So for this like a real application with users, and so you can leave a comment here, right? You're going to leave a comment. So this GitHub uses Markdown. If you're not familiar with Markdown, it's so simple. Markdown is simple, really. You'll see. So let's say I want to say, okay, what's the title? So that what's the title of this issue is, I didn't add a template for how to set up an issue, but that's really up to you. If you could check a project, if the project has a template. So right now I'm just, just freestyling. There's no template for how to create an issue here. Some projects probably don't have templates. And so what do I, so title, and like Markdown is, of course, this is not about Markdown. So could be something like this, bold it, and then maybe add to do. So what do I want to do is I want to update the README for this project to include, say, Tailwind. I hope that's the spelling. Tailwind, I don't know if, I hope that's also the pronunciation. To include Tailwind in the list of, let's say, tech stack used, okay? So you can preview how your issue is going to appear, and then you'd submit a new issue. Now, to create an issue is you just go to the project straight, and then you create it. Now, let's say I want to pick this same issue that Gideon, want to pick my issue. So this is my GitHub account. My GitHub account is of course public, and I've a couple of repositories here. Oh, I think I contributed to this Awesome Users. You're asking a project I'd contributed to. So like Awesome Users is a public project. It just has a list of, okay, this is an example of a project that's probably not active anymore. So when you come here and you look at the commits, so it was last updated 4 years ago. So it's probably not welcoming any any more contributions. I forget what it's about even. Okay. Where are we? Okay. So now, cool. So if you're on GitHub, your repositories will probably appear here, the repositories that you have. And right now, the blog we are talking about is not on my account. As you can see, it's not among on my repositories. It's on the Ramani account. So I've created an issue and now I want to fix that issue myself. What do I do? And this takes us to the next step of forking a repository. What does forking a repository mean? So I'm going to go again and I'm going to search for that project. I know it was under Ramani.io, and then this is a project, okay? So what you want to do is you want to fork it. So when you go to any project, there's an option to fork it. And what forking a project means is you're creating a copy of it into your own projects or your own repositories. So I'll come and I am going to fork. Okay, so this time I'm going to create a fork. So just look through it straightforward. I'm not going to rename it. That's the fork, that's the description. I'll not change anything for now, just create the fork. So you're just creating a copy of this onto your GitHub. If you found the project that you want to contribute to, you create a copy of it. You don't contribute to it directly if you're not the owner. You create a fork of it. Now that I have a copy of this, okay, what is it that I wanted to do? what I want to do is I want to update its README by adding Tailwind as a tech stack being used. So at this point I don't even need to clone this. I can make this contribution just within GitHub. And so I'll come here and then right now, because I've forked it, I have the option to come and edit this file because it's my own project. And so what I'm going to do, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and then I'm now trying to edit the README. The README is basically Markdown. And so I can just look at just seeing how this Markdown is. So the tech stack is a tech stack name, and then let's add a link to it. So I can come and say, and I Google Tailwind. Okay, so I know this is, Tailwind CSS. This is the site. So I'm going to copy the link, and then I'm going to come here, and then I'll add, Tailwind CSS like that, and then I can add the link. Okay, and then so if you're familiar with Git, I'm doing this directly within the browser because I want to keep it simple. When I'm comfortable, I can do a preview, and now I can see this is what I've added to the tech stack being used. And I'm fine with my changes. I can come and commit these changes. So my commit message could, for example, be update readme. Commit directly to the main branch. Yes, I can commit directly to the main branch here. Or you could create a new branch. It's really up to you. But what I'm going to do is maybe create a new branch. So it makes sense with you. You can name your branch anything. I will call mine maybe update readme. I'll keep the commit message as simple as it is. And then, boom. Okay, there we go. And then look what happens. Git will automatically see what the changes that I've committed, right? The new change that I've committed, and it's rather GitHub will see the new change that I've committed, and then it's giving me a prompt to create a pull request. Okay, so I can go ahead and click create a pull request. Update readme. Right now I'm going to leave this just for demo purposes, I'm going to leave this pull request. You can, okay, you can add something like, hey, what does this PR do? Adds, okay, we know it's updating the README, but what does it do exactly? Okay, so it adds, or maybe updates the list of the tech stack used. So, create my pull request. So that's what a pull request means, is I've made a change that I want to get merged in. That's what a pull request means. And then this, so basically this pull request is to, because it's on my project, I can come and, you know, merge it to my main branch, confirm merge. Okay. So now that pull request has been merged there. And so what I want to do, so just so it makes sense, let me, do you see what I did there is that work I merged onto this copy. Sorry, let me go to, when I forked, let me go to my repositories. When I forked that repository, before it wasn't among my list of repositories. Right now, it's in my list of repos, okay? And it's over here. And you can see that it even shows I forked it from that. Like I can modify this copy that I made to my account. Okay. And you can see that on my account, when I go to this code on the repo that I forked, I can see that I made that update on the copy of the project for me. But on the original, you know, project that I forked, when we go to it, right, you can see that that list that I added isn't there. So what do you want to do to make this, to basically make your contribution complete? Kwa sababu it's now just on my copy that I forked. So when you go to your copy, when I'm here, like it's my copy, I can go to pull requests. And then click create a new pull request. And then right here, so where do I want to merge this? So basically, I want to merge it from my account here, right? Let me zoom in to see that. And then I want to merge it to this branch for the original repo. And so I'll come and then I'll create this PR right here, right now. And then add the title, could be update readme. I'll just keep this simple. And then update the list. Okay, and then I'll create my pull request. And so now the maintainers of that project will now be notified that, hey, we now have a pull request that we want to review. So when, you know, Ramani, so when this maintainer of this project comes here, I already have 3. Okay, okay, this is fantastic. Oof, I love this. I already have pull requests from other people, which is fantastic. I love it. Are you guys here in the room? I don't know if the people who have put up the pull requests. Okay. Let me just looking at this. So I can come and do an update. So when I come to this is the one I just raised like a minute ago. And then because I'm the owner of this repo, I can merge it in because I'm the author, right? Probably you can't merge in your pull request because you're not the author. Like for people who have raised, you can't merge in your own. the maintainer of that project has to review your work and then they'll merge it in. So boom, let me just merge this in. Do I want to write anything? No, I'll just confirm the merge. So assumption is I've gone through, I'm happy with that change, and then now I've confirmed the merge. And so, this is it's simple. Okay, let's go to my Oktoberfest dashboard to see if that pull request has been picked up. Did I have my dashboard open up? Okay, it hasn't yet picked up. It hasn't yet been picked up. Yeah, I created an account on Oktoberfest. I think it takes time for it to be picked up. It will probably be picked up. I don't know if it will be picked up because it's my own pull request. I don't know. But I know it's any pull request that gets merged, it will be picked up. It will count as a contribution as long as it gets accepted. When you put up a pull request, it doesn't mean that you've contributed. It has to first be accepted by the maintainer. And because I accepted my own pull request by merging it in, so you can always go and check your progress on your dashboard to see if you've actually made, once it gets merged, and then you'll make the fall. Okay, where are we? Update readme. Cool, fantastic. So that was merged in. So okay, so we've talked about submitting a contribution. It's opening an issue, opening a pull request, after submitting a contribution. So maybe after you submit a contribution, you just need to prepare yourself for some of the possible things that could happen. You might not get a response. That happens. Like you make your contribution, could be an issue, and you don't get a response. It's okay. It happens. It shouldn't stop you from contributing to open source. Someone requests changes to your contribution. Right now, I'm going to go and view those pull requests, and then I might request a change. That doesn't mean I've rejected your contribution. I'm just giving you feedback on maybe something you probably need to change, such that you meet the goals of the project. Okay. Your contribution might also not get accepted. It could be declined for certain reasons. It could be violating the code of conduct, or it's not related to the project goals. So your contribution might not be accepted. But these are just so you prepare yourself. So just make sure you're meeting the guidelines, etc., so that your contribution can get accepted. So if your contribution gets accepted, well done. You've made it. So I'll first pause there and see, does the contribution work for people whereby this is probably your first time to open source? Does the contribution make sense, the workflow? Do you have any questions? Any questions? Yep. Yeah.
This one is the open source.
Mm.
What if it contributes negative? Reports.
Mm.
Policies on GitHub which will also get sue you. And the other question is,
Yeah.
I've made my project private,
Mm.
but I want like my friend to see it for just for once to review the codes, but I don't want to give him passwords and my username. Are there any other ways in which he can
get my project which is private?
Let's first start with the first question. What do you could you give an example of a negative contribution?
It's like it's a project. Maybe there is a login system.
Yeah,
Maybe there is a login system, and you contribute. Like
yeah,
somebody is doing verification by email, and you change. Someone is doing verification by SMS.
yeah.
You can see it is good, but maybe the author see it's a bad one.
Yeah.
So
So again, so that so maybe it so okay. You know, when you say negative, it could be first thing I thought of was actually like giving feedback. That's probably negative feedback. I feel like negative feedback is welcome because it helps people grow. It might not be praise that hey, this project is good. You could be giving them feedback that you know is negative that project, but it's telling them how to improve something. So probably the author will welcome that. But then for you to add that person. So that person should have a GitHub account, obviously. So when you invite them, they'll be able to view that project because you've invited them as a collaborator to that project, even if it's private. Answers your question?
yes.
Perfect. Any other questions? We go on. Cool. Uh, if there are no questions, if there are no other questions, does it mean I'm doing a good job at explaining that you understand there's no, or you already know this? Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
So perhaps you might not be a developer currently, but you are good at designing or copywriting. You can also contribute that way. So there are different ways on how to make it inclusive. That's the main thing for GitHub and emotions. So you perhaps not be a developer, but you are good at copywriting or designing. So you can design, let's say, the UI user experience for the Ramani blog. That also can be accepted, I think. Or create you copyright, design something creative that you want for customers, or something else that captures the attention, but you're contributing something as a creative person. So the main aim for open source is inclusiveness. So there are people out there who have good creative ideas. You might be a developer, but you have these other talents in technology. You can also do that. So no code and code. So it's priority. So you also have a choice.
Perfect. Thank- Where? What? Mm. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. The no code contribution. Okay, so let me so what I did, let me first give a bit when you said Slack and you said you saw a link. Let me first give a bit of background for that. So what I did, because I know a few people had reached out to me, you want to contribute to something and you want to get practical experience. So I created this project. These are it's real world projects that we are going to use. It's serious. It's not, yeah. And because it's serious, I created a Slack workspace. Okay. So like for this blog, I actually created a Slack workspace and I've added a link here and you can join that Slack workspace. Because I know when you picking up, it might take you time to contribute. You might not be able to finish your contribution here. So I'll still the Ramani team will be available in that Slack workspace. Benjamin, myself, and so if you go to that Slack workspace, I think I have it open up here. What I did is in the is it in the general channel? So I added the Figma mockups. I already have the Figma mockups for this blog post. So that's what you're talking for people who hadn't yet who don't know. Like, so you can go view those mockups to just inform you even more what the project is all about, right? And so if you understand and now you want to contribute, okay. So now let's go to, so for the mockups for this project, for example, um, the Figma one is closed off. Like I closed off the collaboration on the Figma part itself. So if you probably, let's say, want to add, uh, maybe let's go into a very specific example. Could you maybe give an example of a design that you want to add on, and maybe we can walk through that? Okay, if you see something in that you don't like, something in the layout that you want to improve, so that is, I guess, what you can open an issue on GitHub itself.
Take a screenshot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then in that, so in that issue, I'll give you an issue here. Let's say, I don't know if anyone picked up. So this is the only issue I know that I probably added a screenshot. So you could add a screenshot of maybe the before and then maybe the after. Okay. And then when you open the issue, I could review it. because I'm one of the maintainers of that project. We're going to add more maintainers to this project, for example. So when we review it, your issue makes sense to us, then we can talk about it just in the comments or on Slack. Like, how do we go from there? Do you want to contribute by designing the actual mockups, and maybe we'll give you access to Figma, but Figma is closed off for now. Or do you want to contribute to that design through code? So we can maybe have that discussion on that thread. Yeah, that answers that question.
I think it's why they're supposed to create a code that won't be synced without
Yeah,
and work on that and share with them.
yeah. And by closed, I mean you won't be able to edit the files. But if you want to create a copy, feel free. If you want to create a copy of those Figma files, feel free. On Figma itself? How do you create a copy on Figma itself? You have a Figma account. I think there should be a way to duplicate. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Okay. So maybe let me let me just go back to this. So the workshop is coming to an end. So for the rest of the time, feel free to use this time to pick a project that you want to participate, browse through projects, see how you want to participate, see how you want to contribute to that project. And then for Slack, in this Slack workspace, there's a few channels. If let's say you have a blocker and you're blocked on this project, you could post it, could be the projects you've put up or any project. You could post your blocker here and see if we can help you, right? And then we are going to keep this Slack workspace open for the whole month, because I know you might not be able to make all the 4 contributions to the projects you want by the end of tonight. If you can do that by end of tonight, yeah. I feel like by the end of tonight, you probably have 1 or 2. I don't know. We'll keep the Slack workspace open. Unblocked, you can post your blocker. If you have any questions, yeah, you can ask them in Slack. Makes sense? It's cool.
So let's say you want to test on your computer what code or that you've written.
Yeah.
Test the book.
Okay. So for this project, let me look at this project, for example. When you go to the README, I've added to install and run the project locally on your computer. You want to clone it. You run these commands in your terminal. So for this project, for example, I think that's how to test and run is it's unique to every project. That running every project locally on your computer is not the same on each project. So, but for this one, the steps are there. If they're not clear, you could ask in the discussion or on Slack, or if you see something is even lacking on these steps, you can open an issue. You can update this README to make the steps more clear. That's all contribution. Sir? Yeah. So your NPM isn't updated, your node. Yeah. So that's why we've created Slack. There are many people here that I know are very familiar with, okay, how can I update my NPM? How can I update my node? So maybe you try it and you're running into an error. Just go to Slack, post maybe the screenshot, we read the error message and someone could help you out. I could even just walk over to your computer right now and we troubleshoot it together. So that's why we are here today physically. Like I can just walk over to your computer, and that issue that you're running into NPM, we troubleshoot it together. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's the end of our quick. Yeah. So karibu sana. I'll let you guys work. I don't want to waste your time. Talk is cheap. Show me the code. Eh?
So what do we? So why don't you tell us? So what do we do now, and what's the rest of the agenda?
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. Sorry. So what we are going to do for the next 1 hour is find projects that we want to contribute to, right? Uh, you know, when you go to, again, if you've been following through my presentation, like how when you go to, let's say, Hacktoberfest participation, is they've put up links on how you can find projects. If the projects there are a bit, because some projects are a bit complicated. Yeah, some are scary. Like let's say the code that puts the man on the moon. I know it's open source right there, but maybe you do not understand. It's complicated, and probably the engineer that wrote it is not available to help you. Okay, this is why I've also created these open source Raman projects. So if you have questions regarding those projects, I'm available to answer them. You just have to be patient with me in the responses. I might not be very instant, but me, myself, and other people, Benjamin is available. Other members of the team are available to help you. Oh, okay. We get hacking in the 1 hour. And then as you're doing your work, as you're focusing, the internet is available. As you're working, feel free to get some snacks. Feel free to get some drinks to, energize yourself. I know, I don't know if pizza is here, but it's probably pizza is also on the way. Feel free to talk to someone. You run into an issue, feel free to talk to someone. Yes, you're the made in Tanzania, okay? Made. I've, I've googled made in Tanzania. Is this one? Tanzania, this is the repo, okay? Fantastic. I love it. Uh, it's listing open source projects. Okay, so more projects for you to hack, guys. So, okay, Django Roku. So if you're a Django developer, Go Pesa. Does this like use Go? Okay, Golang. Yeah, it uses Go. Perfect. It's a Kotlin one. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. I'll actually start it right now. It's a perfect triple. Yeah, I'm going to go through this. Spice. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't know there was spice oil. Okay, nice. I didn't know. Cool. Uh, Tanzania. Let me actually share this in Slack for people that want to check it out. I'm going to share it in the general channel. Guys, you don't have to ask a question. If you have a contribution that you want to make, feel free. Okay, could you maybe introduce yourself? The guys who've made contributions. I would love to know you. Forgive my manners.
Uh, my name is Alex Mbiso.
Ah, yeah, Alex. We talked on the phone. Yeah, I remember.
I'm a student at USS. I know. I've been happening there since patients and I'm very passionate about building tech communities. We have built different tech communities at school, but also outside school. I'm also GitHub campus expert, so if there are students inside here who would love to know about GitHub, Git, and utilize resources that are present in GitHub, well, I'm available and you can reach me out. If you go and Google GitHub campus experts, you can see my name there in Tanzania, but also I'm available in all social medias. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Could you? I know you organize the Oktoberfest event as well, and yours is a whole day. People can just come and contribute.
Okay, so we are organizing a Oktoberfest, but it's more engaging and having these workshops. It's on 21st October in Banana. My friend there, Caleb. So we are partnering with them and he's building open source projects. Swahili Sarufi AI. So it's quite amazing you can talk with him. But you're going to be there learning different ways on how to contribute. For those who don't know about coding exactly, you're going to start from scratch. How to contribute, how to open a GitHub account. For students, to GitHub resources, what are there? They are free learning resources from courses to software development tools. For instance, JetBrains, all the JetBrains suites you can get for free. So all those benefits are there for you as a student, and you can learn in a professional way. And I welcome you if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Mm. Caleb, I think you mentioned your name. Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hi guys, my name is Caleb. Yeah. So basically I built my career on open source. So I didn't start my career from like software. I did engineering, and the way I did my implementation of software was using open source. You see like Python, all those kind of tool. So I did a lot of open source, and through that open source, I got trust in the developer community. Right now, we're starting a company called Sarufi, Neurotech. We're doing chat as well from there. But I'm super passionate about communities. We also host a lot of meetup at our office, generative AI community. And this next week, we're collaborating with White City. We need to host